Wonderful. Over here.
What do we got? 3 and 3? Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay? Wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone. I am delighted to be here with you today at Malcom X Park. This is a park that means so much to me. Growing up here in Roxbury, spent a lot of my youth here. And open spaces like this play a very important role in the renewal and healing of our communities. I want to acknowledge Chris Cook, who is our Chief of Environment and Energy and Open Space. He couldn't be with us today, but I do want to thank him for his dedicated work on our parks. And I want to thank him for everything that he's done in terms of green space and environment here in our city. We are joined by Commissioner Ryan Woods from Parks and Recreation. Thank you for being here, and members of your team. There were members of your team in front of my house or across the street from my house just yesterday morning doing an amazing job, so certainly want to give you and your team a big shout out today. I also want to welcome and acknowledge Selena Barrios Milner, who is our, I hope you're on my left, great, my new Chief of Equity and Inclusion for the City of Boston. You have done incredible work in the Office of Economic Development, so thank you for your leadership there and for your leadership in your new position. I also want to acknowledge that we're also joined by other chiefs here. There is the Chief of Policy and Planning, Mary Churchill is with us. We have Emma Handy, who is our CFO here. We have Chief Midori, who heads up our Office of Economic Development, and also joined by Kevin Akwan here. Our nation and our city are built on a promise that achieving your dreams is possible. But we know that we still have a lot of work to do to make these dreams real for everyone in our city. When it comes to city contracts, business owners of color are too often overlooked and underrepresented. A recent disparity study revealed enormous inequality in how our tax dollars are spent. We know of the $2 billion that the city of Boston spent on goods and services, less than 1% was awarded to Black-owned and Latinx-owned businesses. Spending with all businesses of color totaled just 2.5%. Diverse entrepreneurs who deserve a fair shot at doing business with the city have been shut out. These troubling disparities are the result of discriminatory policies that we have all inherited, and Boston now has a chance to do better as we recover, reopen, and renew our city. Today, I am pleased to announce some of the solutions that we are working on to boost equity in city contracts and new strategies to hold ourselves accountable. These initiatives are informed by input from my mayoral transition committee, and I want to acknowledge that Quincy Miller is here with us today and served as one of the 5 co-chairs for my transition committee. We are also joined by, where are you? Where is he? Glenn Lloyd, who is over there, who does amazing work in our neighborhood and in our city, and that these initiatives are also informed by the Supplier Diversity Advisory Council. Right here at Malcom X Park, we are piloting a race and gender conscious goals that will help us achieve our annual goal of 25% that was outlined in the executive order, and 25% of minority and women-owned business enterprises. Our FY22 through 26 capital plan will increase for Malcom X Park. We have an investment now that is all the way up to $9.4 million. And the fact that we are here in this park talking about capital improvements is due to my long-term advocacy for this park, which is informed by community members who utilize this park and who love this park. This is an amazing park. And we need to make sure that we continue to invest and take care of it. Through this pilot, a diverse array of businesses will have the opportunity to make improvements such as upgraded basketball courts, new tree plantings, and accessible tennis courts. To help more minority and women-owned businesses compete for public contracts, the City of Boston will launch the Boston Contracting Opportunity Fund. This $750,000 program will award grants of up to $15,000 to help small businesses build their capacity to bid for city contracts. This initiative will help increase the availability of diverse businesses that are ready to compete for work with the city. The city is also investing in its own capacity to make supplier diversity a strategic priority. A new 5-person supplier diversity team will lead the city's efforts to develop inclusive procurement practices, monitor city contracts, offer business certification, and more. In addition, we've hired the first director of strategic procurement to support the city's commitment to equitable procurement across all city departments. To help more businesses connect with these departments, we will host a Pathways to City Contracting Opportunity Fair. And at this virtual event, entrepreneurs will meet one-on-one and in groups with city departments and learn about upcoming contract opportunities that align with their expertise. All of these measures, from new bidding opportunities to capacity building grants to virtual networking, and with new measures to hold ourselves accountable, will help advance supplier diversity. Working together, we can create a more equitable recovery, reopening, and renewal for the City of Boston. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Janey. I'm proud here to stand here beside you on this historic day as you make such a great commitment to this great city of Boston. And I'm here to also recognize and also represent the private industry, because this commitment of supplier diversity takes both the public sector and the private sector's commitment to really being able to make it happen. Mayor Janey talked about the capacity building that the city is going to be doing. See, there's really an ecosystem that is required to support our small businesses, our medium businesses, those women and minority-owned businesses, to help them grow and scale. And capacity is one critical piece of that. Of course, capacity, helping them build the capacity. The other area is another C, and that is the access to capital through financial institutions like ours at Eastern Bank, and other CDFIs and community organizations. But what really makes a difference is the contracts. And that's what is so critical about supplier diversity, because without the contracts, without the revenues, our women-owned and our minority-owned businesses have no opportunity to scale. And that's why this commitment is critical to our overall success. And it starts at the top. Just as Mayor Janey's doing here with the City of Boston, in private industries, it starts at the top with CEOs and presidents making a commitment to change the way that they purchase and they do procurement in their companies from the top down. And through this work, we've really identified that there's 3 guiding principles to success in terms of supplier diversity and changing the way that we procure and helping our businesses and WMBE businesses grow. First and foremost, it's breaking up these very large contracts, breaking it into multiple contracts to give the opportunity for businesses to bid and win this, open up the door for them to walk in and have an opportunity to win the bid. The second aspect of what's critical about those 3 guiding principles is the idea of being willing to spend more. And that sounds counterproductive in the idea of procurement, but the reality is, as we look to create greater supplier diversity, these businesses do not yet have the same economies of scale as what large national organizations do. So in the private sector, I've told my team, we have to be willing to spend more. We have to be willing to spend 10, 15, 20% more on these contracts to make a difference and to make sure that these businesses are profitable when they take on this work. And the third key aspect of this is the willingness to take risk. And the idea of doing business with a company that you don't know or you haven't worked with before, or you're having a reference from somebody else, the willingness to reward your colleagues for diversifying their suppliers and taking on that risk, just like we would reward innovation in any other industry. So in closing, this for us and for our communities is not only the smart thing to do, it's the right thing to do. But it's the smart thing to do because helping these businesses grow will help our economy thrive. These businesses will create meaningful, life-sustaining jobs in the community, and that will help us close the wealth gap here in Greater Boston. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Selena Barrios-Milner. I want to start by thanking you, Mayor Janey, for this opportunity to serve the people of Boston in this vital role at this moment in time. As a Latina immigrant, I know how hard it can be to navigate spaces and systems that were not designed with you in mind, and in many cases, were specifically designed to exclude you. I'm committed to working with the incredible team at the Equity and Inclusion Cabinet and my colleagues at the City of Boston to ensure that we're taking a citywide and community-informed approach to equity, that we're leveraging the many resources and levers of city government to ensure access, inclusion, and prosperity, and that we're working closely with partners and stakeholders in the nonprofit and private sectors, like Quincy just mentioned, to promote a citywide approach to equity. Through all our work, we will be accessible and we will be accountable. Thank you again for this opportunity. Now, I want to give a little more detail about some of the programs that were announced today. So the Boston Contracting Opportunity Fund will be opening on April 15th. And for anyone interested in finding out more about the criteria to qualify for the fund, you can visit boston.gov/contracting-fund. This fund is unique because we're looking to build the capacity of local vendors for city contracting in particular. So we want to find all the vendors out there that are diverse, that perform professional services, construction, design, suppliers, all of the stuff that the city buys and all of the services we invest in. We want to find folks out there who need the extra capacity to be competitive. We're also going to be offering 2 webinars for businesses to find out more next Tuesday, April 13th at 6 p.m. and next Thursday, the 15th at 2 p.m. I also want to reiterate, we're going to be having the Contracting Opportunity Fair on April 28th. From 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that's an opportunity for all businesses to come meet department buyers and city representatives from all of the large city departments to find out about what opportunities they have coming up in the next 6 months. Thank you so much.
We'll take a few questions. Or not? Okay. No questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Media is like just a perfect photo opportunity for us. Just keep